We'll call the Thursday, April 25th City Commission meeting to order. First item on the agenda would be the review of the April 11th minutes.
Minutes were great.
Okay.
I have no change.
Well, stand as approved. Next item on the agenda, March 2024 financial statement. Mr. Rupp.
This report contains financial summaries of revenue and expenditures for the city phase, month ended March 31, 2024. Revenues in March totaled $4.9 million. That's an increase of $1.1 million when we compare to last year. So notable areas have increased over last year of March. Federal aid was up $320,000 for airport fund due to CARES grant receipts. February sales tax wasn't received until March, increasing that line $928,000. We make a period adjustment later in the report for that. The budgeted close of the Home Depot fund was completed this month, increasing bond and interest $228,000. There was an increase of $90,000 in the new equipment reserve state aid line for the COPS grant that is funding body cameras for the police department. You'll see the offsetting entry in public safety to prepare for that expenditure. The new R9 fund revenue was up $100,000. We're now caught up on the transfer of water sales tax to that fund, and we'll continue that practice monthly to keep up with cash flow requirements there. Residential water usage was up 26%, while business was up 32% this month. Those billing cycles did have a few days extra in them, and total year-to-date revenue was up $66,000 or 7%. Notable areas of revenue decrease compared to March of 23. You'll see an entry for $444,000 in both Commission Cup Reserve and golf course improvement a year ago. That is for the golf cart trail reconstruction. Those entries were needed to get it out of financial policy projects line of the general fund budget. Expenditures in March totaled $3.5 million with a decrease of $119,000. Notable areas of increased expenditure: finance city clerks projects were up $15,600 for that department's share of the move to the cloud with our financial software. The Home Depot fund close mentioned earlier increased expenditures in that line $228,000. IT other contractual increased $138,000 due to public safety software maintenance renewals as well as the cloud move that we talked about. Public Works General Admin Professional Services was up $11,880 for preliminary plat work on a speculation property. Notable areas of decreased expenditures, that same $440,000 as mentioned appears for the expenditure side on the golf cart trail reconstruction. Fleet maintenance expenditures were off $15,000, and chemicals and electricity were down $41,000 for water reclamation due simply to timing of billing. Month-to-date general fund sales tax collections were at $697,000. That's a decrease of $47,000 or 6% compared to last year. Year-to-date sales tax collections were at $2,372,000, down $57,500 or 2% as compared to last year. The 6-month average is at 5.6%. That's a year-over-year increase of 4%. And year-to-date county sales tax collections were at $278,894. The report of top 10 quarter-to-date sales tax collections by classification was down $179,800 or 5%. One large drop was in electric, solar, wind, gas by 59%, which we believe timing of sales tax receipts on that. The other was in merchant wholesalers, down 31%, which was one electronics provider working on the 5G upgrade at this time a year ago. These top 10 represent 74% of the total sales tax collections for the running quarter. Finally, the total par value of the U.S. Treasuries for March was $35.855 million with a weighted average yield to maturity of 4.7, up 1.5% from a year ago. Total of the portfolio certificates of deposit on March 31 was $31,138,774 with a weighted average rate to maturity of 5%. Total balance of the money market account on March 31 was $5 million with a current yield of 4.158. That's up 1.7 from a year ago. Total investments are down $1,889,000.
I move to approve the financial statement.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Reuter, second by Commissioner Jacobs. Any comments? Kim, what are you going to do to get that turned around?
Spend more.
That's a good
Spend more
start.
to get
That's
more.
a good start.
Not us.
You got to spend money to make money. Right?
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Next on the agenda would be citizen comments for non-agenda items, and we do have a pretty good lengthy meeting tonight, so if we could keep that to 5 minutes or less, I'd appreciate it. If anybody wants to come up. Go back. All right. Next will be the consent agenda. We have some, I'm trying to get back to here, mayor appointments for approval. Quite a few tonight. We have Care Council, Brett Gerber, Hayes Public Library Board, Patty Park, third term, second full term, Shane Smith, first term. Youth Advisory Board, I think this is the most exciting one. Had some great candidates on this. Jenna Brohl, first term. Isabel Jones, second term, sorry. Caleb King, first term. Jenna Kisner, first term. Preston Murmas, second term. Aaron Reuter, first term. Marshall Sick, first term.
Could we have those young people stand for us?
Yes.
I'd always like to recognize them. There's
Yes.
at least four of them here tonight.
Yeah, actually, come up here so maybe we can take a photo with you. And since you started, I think you should take a photo with them.
I
I'll take a
think
photo
so.
of you. Okay.
You
You
with
go
them.
take a picture of
You
them.
started it. You, not me, you. And thank you, guys. Thank you for being part of this.
Are you going to do it with your camera?
Mason, you started something really good here, buddy.
Everybody's got to love it as much as Preston does.
They all do a great job.
They sure do.
And will do a great job.
I move approval of the consent agenda. Proudly.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jacobs, second by Commissioner Cunningham.
I will have to abstain as I'm related to somebody on the list.
That is
She's
fair
not here, but congratulations to her.
She's working.
She's a working.
for her. So, okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? 1, so 4.
4-0, one abstention.
4-0, yeah, 1 abstain. However you. All right, thank you all. Thank you, guys. Next item on the agenda is 32nd, 33rd Street reconstruction design contract. Oh, hold on a
Can I
second.
say something real
Hold on a
quick?
second.
I just want to tell you guys, you don't have to stay here if you don't want to. It's nice that you came to be recognized, but it's going to be one of those long meetings, so stay
Oh,
as
you're
long
really
as you
gonna wanna
like,
stay.
but you don't have to stay.
You'll learn so much by staying for this whole thing.
And Jenna, you need to tell your dad that you're now above him, so he has to
That's
look,
right.
he has to look up to you, okay?
That's a good idea.
I'm gonna go
guys.
fast. Good afternoon, Jesse Rohr, Director of Public Works. First of my items today is to discuss the proposed engineering services agreement for the reconstruction of 32nd, 33rd Street. So this is a project that's slated for construction next year. The location of the project is from Vine Street, just 32nd and Vine, just on the west side of Vine, and it goes along 32nd and 33rd, just past Willow, and ends at the alley just west of Willow. Right now, we're coming for you for design of the project. This is budgeted in the 2024 CIP. The street itself carries about 3,500 vehicles per day, and the project will generally consist of new pavement. There's about 2,500 foot of new street pavement, curb and gutter as needed. Most of it's in good shape. Might do about 5% or so of the curb and gutter. It will include sidewalk ramps at the intersections as is typical, and then it'll also include a little widening of the intersection at 33rd and Skyline, where it's a little bit narrow there. So we are hoping to have design completed by fall of this year. Put that out to bid late this year for construction to occur in 2025. So we did put this out to bid, and we were very pleased with the bids. Had 5 bids from 5 very qualified firms. We would have been happy with any of these 5. Driggs Design Group of Hayes was low bid, came in at $67,000. As you know, we've worked with Driggs Design Group many times in the past on many projects with a lot of success.
Jesse, you said last week you've worked with all these that put a bid in, is that correct?
Yes, yep, every one of these, we have done work in Hayes actually, so. And again with, well, let's see, actually 4 of these have offices in Hayes actually, so now. So
Thank you.
we've gone from not having any engineering firms in Hayes to having at least
A
4 or
lot.
5 now, so, right. So your packet included a contract and design agreement from Driggs Design Group. The services for that include not only the civil engineering design itself, but they'll also assist with contractor bid solicitation once the design is complete. And then they'll work with us through the bidding, bid review, and they'll provide a final recommendation that will come to you along with staff recommendation for an award of bid late this year. Again, the contract amount is for $67,000 for the design. This was budgeted, as I mentioned. We actually budgeted $160,000 for design. At the time this was put in the budget, we had some other potential options for the layout of the street. We decided to go with the minimal option, do what's necessary, replace the pavement. Therefore, the cost of design was less than it could have been with some of the other options. This will be funded out of City Commission reserves. Like I say, it is budgeted. It's highlighted in the 2025 CIP for the construction out of City Commission reserves. And there could be some minor stormwater infrastructure that could come out of stormwater reserves as well. And all this will be presented again to you when we bring back an award of bid once bids are received. So today you would have a couple options: either authorize the city manager to enter into the agreement with Driggs Design Group, or direct staff to another option. And this would be the action requested.
I move to authorize the city manager to enter an agreement with Driggs Design Group, PA, in the amount of $67,000 for engineering services related to the design of the reconstruction of 32nd and 33rd Street from Willow to Vine, to be funded from Commission Capital Reserves.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Barrick, second by Commissioner Cunningham. Comments, questions?
I don't know if I really have a question, but I think I do. In the redesign, I drive that every day, half a dozen times a day. In the redesign right there where it goes across the draw, is that a redesign? You're going to do something different with how that flows across there?
The only thing that'll be done there at the draw, so which is kind of right there at Skyline,
Right.
and 33rd there. Right now, the I guess the northwest leg of that intersection, where Skyline meets 33rd,
Yeah.
is a pretty tight intersection there, especially when there's a car at the stop sign facing south. It's hard for someone to turn in there. So we're widening that at the intersection only, and that will require an extension of the box structure.
Okay.
And it's only like an 8 to 10 foot extension, but it'll make a difference as far as the turning radius and making it easier for cars to turn that corner when there's another car in the lane already.
I'm sure you probably explained that earlier, but I missed it,
problem.
Jesse. Thank you.
Jesse, I think somebody asked this last week, and maybe you don't have the information, but with the addition of 37th all the way through, is there more or less traffic on that where you're widening it?
You know, I don't know that we had traffic counts on this since then. I would expect there to be significantly less traffic at that intersection, whereas before everyone had to come down to 33rd to get to Vine Street at the 32nd, 33rd intersection. Now they have the option of taking 37th at the roundabout. So a lot of people that would, if they came down either 41st before or, like I say, that general neighborhood from 33rd all the way up to 39th, really, we're traversing that south route at 33rd, whereas now they're not. So
But even if there is less traffic, you still think it warrants widening it?
we think so, just from a safety standpoint there.
Okay.
And we actually did have someone hit the rail at the guardrail earlier this year there. Was it due to the narrowness of the intersection? I don't know, but
Yeah.
anything we can do to help that a little bit will improve it.
Makes sense, thank you.
So just for going forward, we can assume that the going rate for a street concrete is about $3.5 million a mile.
I don't know, possibly.
I love it. I love it.
I was just going by this
Yeah.
2,500 square feet is just about a half mile, and at 1.6 million plus 67,000 for engineering would get you into that range. So when we get to all the next street projects, I can look at it and see, are we getting the going rate similar?
You might not be far off.
Allen Street, well, that was $4 million, wasn't it? When we did Allen?
Oh, gosh.
But how long is it? You don't know, Jesse. We shouldn't ask these questions. Reese, look what you started.
Do you see it vary very much from street to street? Like what he's saying, I mean, do you see a change on how much it costs per feet?
Generally, we don't.
Yeah.
Especially like this, this will be, I'd say, somewhat similar to the 27th Street project. It was basically very little grading, very little change to the configuration of the street. It was just primarily pavement. This one's a little bit less involved than 27th. 27th had some utilities.
Yeah.
Also had more sidewalk and retaining walls and things like that. And this one won't be quite as involved there. So.
Anything else? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda, ETJ review, future land use map update. Jesse.
All right, well, this item's a little different than what we've seen in the past, from me anyway. So I want to talk about the future land use map, which is found within our comprehensive plan, and how it relates to the extraterritorial jurisdiction, or ETJ. So in November of 2021, the City of Hayes and Ellis County staff and the planning commissions worked together to reduce the size of the City of Hayes ETJ, and it was reduced by approximately 60%. There was a lot of land in our ETJ at that time that we didn't feel was prudent to be within our zoning and subdivision district, and so we worked together to shrink that to our areas of likely growth in the future. So I mentioned the comprehensive plan. This is a cover sheet from our comprehensive plan. This is our current plan that was actually adopted in 2012. And within that plan, we have the future land use map. So here's the future land use map out of the comprehensive plan. So again, this was the full-blown ETJ that we had back in 2012. And you can see it reaches far from the city, from the general portion of the city. So if you look down at the bottom left side of the screen, where it says future land use map, that's all part of the ETJ on this map here. And that's really not a developable area. It's not an area of growth on the city. And there's some other areas similar that we didn't feel, again, we're not growing that way. We'll probably never grow that way. So we pulled those back. And so doing that allowed us to actually hone in on the areas that remain in the ETJ and further define their proposed zoning. So I'll show you a little bit more on the ETJ. So this was again, the ETJ back in 2012, all the way up to 2021, actually. You can see the city limits in the yellow color, and then the blue boundary is the ETJ. So you can see we really reached far, further than we felt necessary. So then in 2021, amongst, after discussions from staff, the planning commission at both city and county level, we shrunk the ETJ to what you see in the red boundary here. So this is the current adopted ETJ. And you can see again, the city limits in yellow, and you can see our primarily areas of proposed growth. The area in red are to the north and to the east of Hayes primarily. And then here's one map that shows both the current ETJ in the red and how it relates and compares to the boundary that was in place before. So once we got the ETJ shrunken down to a manageable area, it allowed planning staff as well as the planning commission to look at the areas and look at how those areas would be zoned in the future. So currently they're pretty much all of them are ag zoned properties. However, the future land use map is a tool that's used by the planning commission in helping determine proposed zonings in the future. So they can look at the future land use map and see how it relates. We've primarily focused on commercial, residential, and industrial. So the residential areas are in orange, the industrial in blue, and the commercial areas in red. And then you can see probably the other color that stands out is the green, and these would be the other primarily public infrastructure. So you have the sports complex, the golf course, and the airport in those areas. So I'll break this map down into just a couple, like a north half and south half. So here's North Hayes here. Again, these are the areas we're focused on for future growth. On the far northwest corner of Hayes and beyond, you can see, as we know, there's a lot of industrial areas up there. You see in the blue, and we would see that we'll probably continue to grow as industrial. But then as you get closer to Vine Street and east of Vine, even south of Vine, there's some areas that would probably be well defined as residential areas in the future. So they're defined as residential on here. And then there's some red, some commercial. And then on the south haze, again, you can see this bottom left corner of your screen here. That's all the area that was taken out of the ETJ. And then on the south and east side of Hayes, southeast side of Hayes, there's some industrial area. That would be around the airport, the industrial park, along Commerce Parkway, and then some infill residential areas. And again, this future land use map doesn't rezone properties. It just provides a look into the future as to what it could be. This is a living, breathing document that in a couple years, based on how development goes, we could be back in front of you again, editing this as we do from time to time. So again, here's just the map as a whole. And I did want to point out the ETJ area is the red boundary there as well. So process-wise, state statute actually spells out the process for us to be able to make changes to the future land use map and the comprehensive plan. So it started, as I mentioned, with staff review of the future land use map and proposed modifications. We actually went before the Planning Commission then, multiple times actually, and then had a public hearing at the Planning Commission, who approved a resolution on February 19th, 2024. And they did vote to approve the recommendations by a vote of 6-0, and it leaves us to adoption of the ordinance by City Commission to finalize the map. With this option, you could either approve the proposed changes as we presented. You could recommend changes as you see fit to the proposed map, or we could not make any changes and leave it the way it is. But staff and the Planning Commission would recommend the changes as presented. Any questions?
I move to approve ordinance number 4047, adopting the modifications of the future land use map, amending the current comprehensive plan.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Reuter, second by Commissioner Berry. Any comments? Pretty straightforward.
A lot of good work done on that.
Yep. Thank you, Jesse.
Curtis did the heavy lifting there. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. Grab you an iced tea or something. Sorry, that was a bad dad joke. All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda, designation of Planning Commission as Board of Zoning Appeals.
okay, kind of another unique item, one we haven't presented to you in the past. So with this one, so the City of Hayes currently has a separate Planning Commission and a separate Board of Zoning Appeals. We actually have a Board of Zoning that's comprised of 5 members. One of those members represents the ETJ that we just talked about in the last item. And we also have one of those members, one of those 5 has been a vacant position since 2021. It becomes hard to fill, especially that ETJ representative. They have to live in a pretty small window of area outside the city limits, but within the ETJ. And then the Planning Commission, if you remember, it used to be 9 members, and last year we came to you, we reduced that from 9 to 7. So we currently have 7 members. It is a full board currently. And one of those members, per ordinance, is actually a member of the Board of Zoning as well. Just a little bit on the frequency of meetings between these two. So both boards are actually dependent on applications and intake from the general public. So the Planning Commission generally meets if we have plats to review, zonings to review, zoning regulations to review, and items like that. Board of Zoning would meet if we had variances or exceptions. And as you can see, in 2023, the Board of Zoning only met 3 times. And in a perfect world, the Board of Zoning would never have to meet. That means there are no variances. That means our ordinances and our regulations that pertain to zoning are allowing people to do what they do, what they want to do without receiving special permission. So the fact we met 3 times is a good thing in that regard. The Planning Commission had 9 meetings in 2023, and that's pretty typical. Occasionally we'll have a month maybe without Planning Commission, but not real common. There is a pretty common practice of the combined boards, the Planning Commission and Board of Zoning, within the state of Kansas. A few city examples I have are Liberal, Junction City, Dodge, Hutchinson, Abilene, and then there are several counties, including Ellis County, who has had a combined Planning Commission and Board of Zoning, I believe, since they adopted zoning regulations several years ago. So discussion started to combine these 2 boards for a lot of different reasons, and if we move to combine these and designate the planning commission as the board of zoning, as is allowed by state statute. We feel very little would change as far as, nothing would change as far as the applicant side of things. Very little would change as far as staff and planning commission as well. There would be some slight rules of action, and then the method in which business occurs would change slightly as far as the actual meeting. So if we'd still convene once a month, there would be a monthly meeting if there's cases to be heard. The planning commission, if combined, would actually convene as the board of zoning. They'd hear any cases that are on the agenda, decide the cases, and then adjourn as a board of zoning, and then convene as a planning commission and continue on with planning commission business. So as I showed before, we only met 3 times as the board of zoning in 2023, so we don't see very much workload, if any at all, added to the planning commission agendas. So your options, again, could either move forward and provide the designation of the planning commission as the board of zoning, or we could leave things separately as they are currently, but this would be action requested.
I move to approve ordinance number 4048, designating the Hayes Area Planning Commission as the Hayes Area Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Cunningham, second by Commissioner Reuter. Comments, questions?
Has there ever been in the past people that served on both of those, the Board of Zoning and the Planning
I
Commission
think
at the
that,
same
yeah.
time?
Well, the only thing we have, like I say, one member of the board of zoning is a member of the planning commission by ordinance, so we've always had one member that serves on both. But beside that member, we have not.
I think it's been interesting, at least to put what I've been able to glean, neither side complained.
Yeah.
You know, the zoning appeals didn't say, what about us? And so I think it's a really good action.
Right, I know Curtis Stein, as he met with the individual board of zoning members, we met during a board of zoning meeting and discussed it as a group, and then we also talked about it at the planning commission and got a favorable recommendation from the planning commission on this. So yeah, everyone was on board with it and saw it as a good change.
Makes good sense.
I think if simplification and efficiency makes it
Absolutely.
worthwhile.
And then moving forward with the 2 current, the boards, combining them, do we lose any members?
So we will lose some members that are currently on the board of zoning. Like I said, there's 4 members currently. 1 actually expires the end of April here. And 1 is actually a member of the planning commission already. So that kind of leaves two positions. And what we've told those members, that as planning commission seats become vacant, that we would reach out to them. We asked for their willingness to serve on the planning commission if an appointment would be in their favor, and they both said yes, they would do it. And we definitely keep them in mind for the future if that occurs. So.
That's great.
Yeah, because we've had some great volunteers on both those boards, and hopefully they'll continue to sign up for that, because sometimes it's hard to get people, so
Yes.
it's a good thing. So. Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda, Astra Bank purchase agreement. Mr. Doherty.
Toby Doherty, City Manager. The commission has been presented with a purchase agreement between the City of Hayes and Astra Bank AIS. There are representatives from Astra Bank if you have any questions from them, and you can refer to the city attorney for any contract specifics. So I'll just give a high-level overview of the agreement. The City of Hayes agrees to transfer an approximate 2-acre parcel of property that we own at 27th and Main to Astra AIS. Upon execution of the agreement, we will work to define that lot. Whether that's a plating or a lot split has yet to be determined, but work to create that lot, and then that would be transferred to Astra. Their intention is to develop the site once they receive it, to include a new bank, a new headquarters building, and then possibly retail associated with the site. We agree to pay for the engineering for the actual site itself, for the entire site, not Astra's design engineering, but the entire site, right-of-way, easement, stormwater, things like that. We also agreed to construct a stormwater retention facility that would serve the entire property. That makes sense from a stormwater, from an efficiency standpoint. We hope to develop the back part of the site. None of the commission has had their eye on possible apartment buildings on the remaining property on the site. So we would construct a stormwater facility using stormwater dollars to handle the whole site stormwater. We would then agree to pay Astra $1.8 million for their 1100 Fort facility when they vacate the facility. So after they build a new facility, when they're out and they vacate, we would pay them $1.8 million for the facility. We would then start remodeling that as the future Hayes Police Department. For the people maybe watching that aren't familiar with this, we've had a new police station on the capital improvement plan for a few years. The initial intent was to build a new facility. We were contacted by Astra about the possibility of working out an agreement. And then a few months of due diligence and negotiation, we came to this agreement. We think this is a very good option for the city of Hayes. It's going to provide a really good home for the Hayes Police Department. It's going to provide them room for the police department and municipal courts with room for growth. And we think it's also a good opportunity for Astra AIS and a good utilization of that pretty desirable frontage at 27th and Fort. So with that, I would stand for any questions the commission may have.
I'm pretty excited about the opportunity because I do see it absolutely as an opportunity for all parties considered. I think it's a great development for 27th and Main Street. You know, I've been a banker I was a banker for a really long time, and I consider banking retail. So to me, that is a retail center going to start up there, and I think that it's going to attract retail around it, which I think is really exciting. And the possibility of additional housing, it's great utilization of the property that the city owns, in my opinion. I appreciate that Astra was thinking in the right direction, but it was like a no-brainer. The building itself is extraordinarily well done, been remodeled, lots of things done. It's right across from the law enforcement center. It's staying in downtown, which is near and dear to me. I think that kind of municipality should be in our downtown area. So I'm extremely excited. I'm glad we were able, all the work the staff did, working with Astra to come to an agreement, and the due diligence. I do want to congratulate you on the amount of due diligence done on this. The feasibility study took a little while, but it was worth every bit of time that we spend on it. And hearing how well it will work for us just made me happy.
So Sandy, you want to actually make the motion before we?
Oh,
Yeah, I guess so.
I didn't even,
Call for a motion.
I'm just going to let you talk.
I move to approve the purchase agreement with Astra Bank AIS.
Second.
Motion by,
Everything else I said.
motion by Commissioner Jacobs, second by Commissioner Reuter. Continue.
Us done.
Now we can discuss.
Us done.
Now we can discuss.
I'm not going to tell her shut up.
Oh, the power is so good.
No, I agree with the utilization of that property makes a lot more sense for it to be, residential and retail, right there in the middle, and then keeping the LEC, all kind of right next to each other. I mean, because we work very closely with the sheriff's department and the courts to keep everything kind of right there localized, makes sense, and gives you guys room to grow for the next 25 to 40 years, which is huge. Because hopefully we continue to grow along right with you guys. So it'll be good to have all of that space and utilized and built for what you guys need in the coming future. And for Astra to get a new building, kind of along Bank Row there, along 27th Street, all the banks kind of line up there. It'll be nice for them, and their investment into that property beyond just their initial bank is going to be huge too. So we appreciate that because that property's been vacant for a long time, and now we can start seeing some vertical growth on it. That'll be fun. I appreciate it.
I don't have a lot to add other than it also a great savings that the city is having by being able to take a building that has great structure, remodel, and then save money versus a new build. So that's really all I
That
have
was
to
really
add.
important, Elaine. I'm glad you brought that up because from where we started, we're probably saving about $5 million for the citizens of this community. So I think that's really important.
And still be able to do it right.
And do it right.
Yep, echo things that it was something that was needed. The space for the police was needed, and it's we had a great plan for it. We purchased the property for sort of that purpose, and so this came up. It's a excellent opportunity. It saves us money, gives the police exactly still what they need for the future, and so I think it becomes a win for this city and a win for everyone involved.
I'll also add to that, I think it's a win for the county. I know, and Toby, correct me if I'm wrong, the county's been wanting extra space, and it's pretty cramped.
Everybody's cramped in the
Right.
law enforcement center, yes. So by us vacating, that will allow the municipal court, the courthouse side and the law enforcement side and the jail sides all to grow.
Right, so I applaud Mr. Kennedy. You, many months ago when we first started doing this, I think it was Commissioner Reuter, we were at a meeting, and I thought you were just saying, hey, you guys should check this out, and you contacted Toby and Colin, and the rest is history. I applaud you guys for stepping up and reaching out to us, and as they all said, I'm excited for you guys, and more than anything, we said we're going to build a police station for the future, and I think we're going to do that, and we're going to be able to save probably $5 million, so that's the best part. So with that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Thank you, Toby. Thanks for your work on that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you both. Next item on the agenda, progress report.
All right, you're stuck with me again.
Oh,
This
no.
is proof that progress happens even when Colin's gone. So, Service Division installed 70 yards of concrete for curb and gutter repair in the west block of 22nd Street. And 47 yards of concrete was used to repair the intersection of 41st and Hall, just east of that intersection, and made a significant difference in that area. And then Public Works Service Division crew also installed 87 yards of concrete on West 25th. This would be just west of Vine Street. Several Hayes Fire Department members completed an 80-hour fire investigation course. This course was in Hayes and taught by the investigators with the Kansas Fire Marshal's Office. And the Hayes Fire Department held an open house and an uncoupling ceremony April 22nd for the new station. Now that that is completed and staffed, Paul Wittenberger Construction is working diligently on renovations to Fire Station Number 1, which is here at City Hall.
How long do they think they'll be at, Toby?
They still say they're going to be done by the end of May.
Very
Shane,
good.
are we still on that? Yes. Yeah, they're working pretty hard. Drainage troughs were installed in the northeast quad at the sports complex to address drainage issues.
Huge improvement.
And golf course staff top dressed in deep tine aerated the greens at the municipal golf course. And Hayes' Flying Bison Disc Golf Course celebrated 40 years with the ribbon cutting ceremony last month. And the first bison calf of the season was born. This one has been named Firecracker. I think elementary kids name those those newborn bison. And then Officer Kay Weiss read to the students at the Hayes Public Library on April 18th. And the police department celebrated Animal Control Week. Pictured are the community service officers, and we're always thankful for their service. Water Resources maintenance staff replaced a fire hydrant at 27th and Barclay that was damaged. They raised a water meter at 1611 East 22nd. And the Water Poster Award ceremony was held April 4th at Sternberg. There were around 85 people in attendance. City commissioners in attendance made a few remarks and congratulated the winners. And recently, Melissa Dixon participated in the U.S. Travelers Destination Capitol Hill event in Washington, D.C. And pictured here is the delegation with Senator Moran and Representative Sharice Davids. And Melissa and Brittany Squire attended the Weekend Conference in Newton, which is hosted by the Kansas Sampler Foundation. Melissa served on a panel discussing belonging and talked about how CVB welcomes Fort Hays State students to the community. On April 11th, CVB hosted an education seminar which focused on emergency preparedness. Speakers included Stacy Smith and Grady Dixon from Fort Hays State. And then on April 11th, Hays hosted the Kansas Nex-Tech Prairie Chicken Festival. Reese is going to agree to do the Prairie Chicken mating dance for everybody.
I can do that.
Adjourn.
This event invites birders from all over the country to visit Ellis County and view the lesser and greater prairie chickens. And on April 15th, Abbey Arts and Brittany Squire welcome potential students and their families to Fort Hays' Spring Tiger Day Browsing Fair. And on April 17th, the CVB hosted travel writers from New York, Portland, Milwaukee, Omaha as part of the Kansas Tourism Familiarization. With Fire Station number 3 completed, as I mentioned, Fire Station number 1 upgrades are happening, and this is adding some female bathroom and living quarters, and then some additional renovation and upgrades to the facility. At the airport, the old hangar has been removed, and this is in preparation of the new KHP hangar that commercial builders have been given the notice to proceed. The Highway Patrol has signed off on the lease document, so now we're just waiting for commercial builders to begin work out there. And work on the interior of the snow removal equipment building continues, and exterior they are pouring concrete around the facility right now. And now it's Melissa's turn.
Melissa, I first want to know what Grady says about the storm. Is it coming or not?
He's on a plane to
Ah,
Cambodia
I
right now.
forgot he went to Cambodia.
Cambodia.
I always trust Grady's weather forecast.
That's where the big storms are going to be happening. He's in Cambodia. He has a storm chase over across the world to catch up to him.
You can always check with National Weather Service Dodge.
Uh-huh.
And it looks like it's later than it was going to be.
But I trust Grady.
And I know. me
We'll,
too.
we'll be all right.
High school sports and middle school sports are still on, so I think it's going to be
I think we're
later
good.
in the evening. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Melissa Dixon from the Convention and Visitors Bureau with some events I want to be sure you know about. I tried to keep it to like a top 10. I couldn't do it. The Great Debate exhibit is going to be out at historic Fort Hays through the month of May. And if you remember, our historic fort is a free site now. The Great Debate focuses on what really happened at that event with General Custer. So you can see an actual pair of his boots and explore what they know about that event. Fort Hays State is going to host an open house. Now, for 19 years, they've had the John Heinrichs Scholarly and Creative Activities Days. The public has always been invited to that, but now they're kind of putting it under this umbrella of open house to say the general public is welcome. Community, please come. Free parking, no tickets. You heard it from me. May 1st. Hays High will host the Baseball Diamond Classic May 2nd and 4th out at Hays High with 5 teams participating, including Hays High and TMP. And the 15th Annual Chamber Golf Tournament will be May 3rd out at Smoky Hill Country Club. The free movie series Flicks on the Cricks will be out at Creekside RV Park the first Friday and the third Saturday. And if that's too hard to remember, just check our calendar at visithays.com. These are free outdoor movies, and they even have a little concession stand out there for visitors. Bickelschmidt Sports Complex will host the USSSA Hays Hit Fest Fast Pitch Softball May 4th and 5th. We're expecting about 35 teams. And then Wednesday, May 22nd, Hays Rec will host their opening day for baseball, softball, and t-ball teams. Some big weekends coming up in May. NCK Tech's commencement, May 9th. Fort Hays State on the 10th and 11th. Hays High will be Sunday the 12th, same as Mother's Day. Restaurants, be on alert that day. And TMP Marion's the following Sunday, May 19th. IMC races out at RPM Speedway. There will be one May 11th. All moms get in free for the Mother's Day weekend. And May 25th, their Memorial Day weekend special. The fire department continues to host Front Door Friday nights. In May, it'll be the 17th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Main Street Fire Station number 1. And an Armed Forces Day dinner and dance will be hosted by the Marine Corps League, 7:40 on on May 18th at our VFW. 2 opening days coming up. Downtown Market opening day. If you didn't hear, our market got voted best market in Kansas by the Farmers Market Coalition. So check them out. This will be a big day. There's always a lot of vendors for opening day. May 25th, 7:30 to 11 at the Downtown Pavilion at 10th and Main. And the Hayes Aquatic Park opening day is the same Saturday, May 25th, and their hours are now 12:30 to 6:30. Big thank you to Hayes Parks Department, who's been out there getting the pool ready for the season. That's all I have. Thank you very much. Oh, except for this weekend, Art Walk on Saturday. Sports Complex hosting 81 teams for baseball. So many things this weekend. So thank you for being welcoming to all of our visitors.
It'll be a busy weekend.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you. Commissioner Berry.
Yes, I was just going to say it's going to be a beautiful weekend, and everybody should get out to the Art Walk. I think that will be a really nice time, and it's also a big weekend for the NFL draft. So I'll be preparing for that tonight in a couple hours.
You do need help.
Well, are you coming to me now? Yes.
Yes, you.
Yeah,
Yes,
like,
I'm just
usually you
waiting.
say my name, but
Sorry,
that's all right.
sorry. Commissioner Cunningham, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to share with everyone that we had the youth leadership board, right? Am I calling it the right thing? And it made me think. Today, I got the privilege to judge some of the famous figures at one of the grade schools, and it's just great to see how much work that youth put into projects they do, and they did a great job. So now on to the county. It'll look good.
That's great.
Cool,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great.
Commissioner Ritter, you can talk.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It was really exciting to be out, see the opening of the fire station. That was a great turnout. It's a great facility. It's exciting to be out there and seeing that. So, thanks everybody for coming out and checking that out. Astra, thanks again for your cooperation and working with us and setting everybody up for the future. That's awesome. Only thing I got is it is going to be a busy weekend, and it's going to start being a busy weekend till the end of time. Yeah, so be on the lookout. Watch out for other people and folks. And
You have something
Don't
going on
tell
this
something
weekend?
going on this
I
weekend?
do. It's the 50th auction for Christian education is this weekend. So the 50th auction we've done, and we're going to break that $1 million record this year.
That's cool.
It's an event that's bringing people from all over the country, and we're sold out.
You guys do a lot of work on that. Good job.
It's a lot of fun. The community gets really involved and always has been, and it's great to see everybody come together. That's all I
Be out
have.
there. You can buy me lunch.
I'll buy you lunch.
Dinner, whatever it is. Commissioner Jacobs.
I just am so proud of the progressiveness of this community continuing right now. With the new fire station, it's absolutely an amazing, you can just see a little piece of it there, but it's an amazing, amazing place. And now to have the opportunity to give a new police station, it's really time we take care of those that take care of us every day. And that is something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. Along with that, the agreement with Astra just makes me smile because it's a win-win-win. I think it's a win for Astra, it's a win for City, and it's a win for Grow Hayes because lots of retail is going to happen up there as they get started in a partnership with Astra, I'm sure. So I think it's good for everybody. I walk out of here very proud every day, serving with people that are progressive thinking and a staff that knows how to get stuff done. So thank you very much.
I would agree. I'm going to probably say a lot of things you just said, but today I got to sign a proclamation out at Fort Hayes for Arbor Day with Jeff Boyle. Does a great job with the kids out there, kind of explaining from how you dig the hole and fill it and fertilize it and stuff. And he did a super job of that. So that was kind of fun to be out there with them. And yeah, like you said, I mean, present and future, talking about a new police station, celebrate a new fire station, and these are the people that put their lives on the line every day for us, and we very much appreciate what you guys do. And Toby, help me out here. Are we raising any taxes for either one of these?
No. So with the fire station, the commission decided to use your portion of the Ellis County quarter-cent sales tax that we receive.
That the residents pass, correct?
Yes, residents pass that. So you choose to spend a good portion of it on the fire station, and then you've made some quality of life expenditures, sports complex.
Right.
And then with the police station, we have some bond debt rolling off, and that creates some capacity for borrowing without raising taxes, and that's what'll pay for the police station project. So that's also why there was no action or no financial. Usually, your anything financial says to be paid out of this. Well, we're not there yet, so Kim's going to be issuing temporary notes. We'll take care of all that at the back end, but it will be paid by a bond.
How many cities can say that?
Not many.
Not very many.
And like you said earlier, the police station, I mean, it's going to be in a place where it's downtown, and they're going to have another empty building, and, you know, going to get a new bank on 27th. A lot of great stuff going on, and hopefully we get some housing behind them sooner than later. So I'm excited. A lot of good stuff tonight. We're adjourned.